Professor Strebulaev, thank you so much for joining us today. You had a meeting with the President of Kazakhstan, Tokayev. Can you please tell us what was the agenda and what would you discuss?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I was very impressed with your president, and I think that you're quite lucky. And I wish that many other nations in this world had such luck. And the reason why I think so is that first, it's very important for the leader today to realize that the disruptive innovation is happening in front of our eyes. That's very important. And the next 5 to 10 years are going to be very different. They could be disruptive, but they also have a lot of opportunities. A lot of opportunities for many countries around the world, many regions, of course, including Kazakhstan. And I've met with a lot of corporate leaders and a lot of government leaders. And not everybody understands what the future is going to bring us. And based on my conversation with the president, with your president, it's quite clear, first, that he understands. Second is that he has a very clear agenda, I think, of the steps he needs to take. And I'm very impressed. I have to say, I'm also impressed by the team around him as well, that I've met.
And as you know, Kazakhstan is aimed to be a regional hub for the AI innovations. And from your perspective, what are the most important conditions Kazakhstan must create to attract the world-class AI startups?
Yeah. First of all, I think it's a great agenda. It's a great goal. I will tell right away, it will not be easy. Because I think to be successful here, especially in today's environment of the global competition, you need to do things right. First of all, you need to understand that even small regulatory changes can have an enormous impact. And therefore, it is very important to understand how regulatory changes will have an impact on the venture ecosystem and on the artificial intelligence ecosystem, including the behavior of startup founders and investors. So what I really would love to ensure that the regulators understand what the venture ecosystem is. And I kind of describe this venture ecosystem in my book, The Venture Mindset. And I really hope that the regulators will be following those principles, because by following those principles, it will be much easier for them to understand, for example, what startup founders and startup investors care about.
Okay. And, you know, while we're still talking about the regulators and especially in the AI field, the question is about the sovereignty of AI. You know that Kazakhstan has recently launched their Ministry of AI. Do you think is it a reasonable decision for us to create this ministry, to create such laws and boundaries for the usage of artificial intelligence, or we should should not touch like the AI sovereignty or freedom of AI and be as it is?
So I think there's always a question of balance. I absolutely think it's a great idea to have the Ministry of AI. The question is, at the end of the day, what this ministry is going to do. Okay. I think if it is structured and positioned correctly and has the right mandate, then the impact could be very, very positive. To some extent also, I believe that the sovereignty of AI, to ensure that it is used within the country for specific purposes, is also a good idea. Having said that, I don't think we would want to see the Ministry of AI or any other regulatory changes to have a negative impact on creativity, have a negative impact on the development of AI methodology or AI applications. And the reason is that, as I mentioned earlier, there is a very substantial global competition. We see this every day. And in the news, people mention the United States and China. But the reality is there is a global competition in the era of AI about AI and its applications. And I think, by the way, when we say the word AI, it's only the beginning. the quantum computing is coming in the next 5 years, I think. And this will leap into a new era of competition. And so if you stifle the creativity or stifle the venture ecosystem in your country, it doesn't mean that it will stop. It just will migrate and somewhere, and that is going to be successful elsewhere. So I think the question of balance is really critically important.
Yeah, and also, do you know, for the last couple of years, the agenda in the media was always the AI, new innovations, and artificial intelligence, the chatbots were not like it used to be a few years ago. And we're integrating AI almost in every field of our life, from our day-to-day tasks to the most advanced financial institutions. Do you see any danger in this because of the usage of the AI in like most of our lives nowadays?
Well, there's always danger in anything you do. Okay. Yes, I do see. I see both dangers and opportunity. And the truth is that every development can be both dangerous and positive, and that depends how you use it. For example, two quick examples. Here's the question I would like to ask, especially maybe parents who are listening to us, okay? So does AI or use of AI, such as using chatbots, ChatGPT, etc., does it make your kids smarter or more stupid? Now, you will want our kids to be smarter, no?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is, and there's been a lot of research on this, including by my Stanford colleagues, the answer is it depends. It depends on how you use it. If you use it in a smart way, those chatbots of today can become the best teachers and can make your kids much smarter. But if you're just seeking answers to ensure that you submit your test on time and get the good grade, it's likely will make us dumber. So that is one, I think, pretty obvious example. Another example that everybody's talking about is what's going to happen with the labor market. And I believe that there's a high possibility that labor markets are going to be disrupted around the world in some specific verticals. I don't believe that the labor professions, the jobs will disappear, but they will be transformed because of AI. But obviously, if you happen to be in a profession that AI is going to replace 90% of people in that profession, that means that it is a disruption. It's dangerous. You will need to learn new skills. By the way, from the point of view of teaching, and now I'm talking about as a Stanford professor who is teaching all the time, I think in the past, choosing the specialization early on was important. For example, you decided to become a journalist, okay, early on in life. And some people decided to become, drivers, technicians, etc. I think these days, it is not about choosing specialization, because almost whatever you choose, it will transform itself in so many ways very quickly. So the specific skills you acquire likely will be less useful. It is much more important about studying how to study, learning how to learn, because whatever you learn, I think the future is going to be different. So the past hundreds of years, you're born, you studied, you worked, you retired, you died, okay? It's going to change.
How is going to change?
It's going to change, I think, the following way. You study, then you work, then you study again. And it's not that you study, like a couple of days a year. It's going to be a study block. You work, you study again. You work, you study. So that will change. I already see this. For example, at Stanford, we started what is known as DCI, Distinguished Career Institute. And this is by people who achieved a lot, who are maybe in their late 40s, 50s, early 60s. They're still very young, okay? They still don't want to retire, but they want to change their profession. So they come to Stanford, they spend the entire year at Stanford studying with undergrads, okay?
Yeah.
And MBA students.
Yeah.
And then they go out into the world and work again. So
Great.
I think that is the future of our human life cycle. But it also has dangers beneath it.
Yeah, great.
And opportunities.
Thank you so much for so thought-provoking answers to our question. Thank you one more time for joining us today in our mobile studio, and I hope we're gonna have more interviews coming up with you. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.